Eliot Shorr-Parks, welcome back to Bet the Birds. Eliot, the Eagles are 2-0. You were spot on last week in taking the Vikings at plus 6.5. Eliot, how are you feeling?
Yeah, so coming off a 2-0 record, which I'll be honest, being on WIP throughout the week doesn't feel like they're 2-0. People are not in love with how they're playing. But I think a major advantage for the Eagles this week in this matchup is just going to be the time that they have off. They're going to have 11 days between their week 2 game, and by the time they get to Tampa to play the Buccaneers, they're going to have a lot of time. They're going to have time to get healthy. I expect James Bradbury and Reed Blankenship and Kenny Gainwell to play. And they're going to have time to game plan. This team hasn't had a chance to adjust to what defenses are doing to them yet. And I think this is going to be their opportunity to do that. So in prime time, I think I'm expecting a big output from the Eagles offense in this game. I think you'll see the passing game be better. And I think the Buccaneers secondary is really there to be taken advantage of. Where the Buccaneers have a strength is on their lines, their offensive line, their defensive line. But that's where the Eagles' strength are too. And I think the offensive line played better last week than it did the week before. So right now, the line is about 5. I believe it is at 5.5. Last time I checked. I like the Eagles a lot at that line. I would bet it. I'm sure it will move. We're still a few days out from the game. If it gets up to 6, I would still take it. 6.5, I would take it. Even 7.5 is where I might start to get a little worried. The Eagles have struggled in Tampa Bay recently, but I think the Eagles come out. I think this is a statement game for them, and I think this is a game that'll finally have fans feeling like the Super Bowl contenders are back. So I'm definitely betting the Birds at the minus 5.5 heading into Tampa Bay.
Well, the Eagles currently are 1-0-1 against the spread. You were lights out with the DeAndre Swift anytime touchdown prediction. What other predictions do you have as the Birds head into Monday Night Football in Tampa?
I think this is an A.J. Brown game. We all saw what happened on the sideline last week. Jalen Hurts said, I got you. The next 2 plays were passes that, if officiated correctly, should have been touchdowns to A.J. Brown. They're going to try to get him the ball. And the Tampa Bay secondary is there to be taken advantage of. They're dealing with injuries in the secondary. Their best corner didn't play last week. We'll see if he plays this week. Even if he does, he's not going to be 100%. I think the matchup is there to be taken advantage of. So if you're going to look at an anytime touchdown, A.J. Brown to me would be the one to bet. If you want to maybe put Devontae too, obviously I think one of them is going to score. But I believe A.J. is the one that they're going to target. I think this is going to be his big game, maybe kind of ease whatever tension there might be. So I would like the A.J. over on yards. I would like the A.J. over on receptions. And, like Dallas last week, I think they're going to try to get him the ball. Goddard led the team in targets last week. The yards just weren't there. I think with AJ, these targets are going to be deeper down the field and the matchup's better. So I would bet AJ heavily in this game and especially at an anytime touchdown.
I love that bet. I love that bet. I love A.J. Brown to come back to. You like the Birds this week to cover.
Mm-hmm.
How about the first half? There's a couple different ways we can bet this. The Eagles' 3-way to win the first half is currently minus 152. The spread is 2.5. How do we feel about the Eagles covering the first half spread and winning the first half?
Well, one area the Eagles I think have struggled with so far this season is they're losing the coaching matchups. In those first 2 games, I thought the Patriots coaching staff and then to an extent the Viking coaching staff got the better of them from a matchup perspective and a game plan perspective. Didn't get the win, but I thought they got the better of those matchups. Heading into Tampa Bay on Monday night, Todd Bowles is going to be an interesting matchup for this team. What will he have ready? Last time he went against Jalen Hurts, Jalen had maybe the low point of his career in that playoff game. Now things are a lot different. Jalen's a lot better. And I think the coaching staff will have a game plan ready. So they have this long stretch to get a plan ready for the defensive schemes they've been seeing. They saw what Todd Bowles likes to do against Jalen. And I think that's going to result in a quick start for this team. It wouldn't surprise me if they get 14 points or even 17 points in the first half. I think they're going to come out strong. So I like them to win the first half. And I think the 2.5, I think there's a good chance they cover that.
Eagles to score first and win the ball game is currently at plus 130, 135, hovering around there.
Yeah.
You're predicting already a 14-0 start to the ball game. What do you think of that bet?
Yeah, these bets are some of my favorite to make because you get a team that's favored at plus money and you get them to score first. Obviously, that's the hook right there. But I think that they will do it. I really think the first time they get the ball on Monday night, we're going to be impressed by what we see. This coaching staff is really good at fixing problems. When they had penalty problems last year, they fixed it as the year went on. When they couldn't throw the ball their first year, the second year they came out and they were one of the best passing offenses in the league. So the team has a problem right now, but I think the coaching staff can fix it. And I'm really excited to see what their first 15 play script is. My guess is it'll be impressive. And I would also say if Tampa gets the ball first, I think the Eagles defensive line, the Buccaneers offensive line is good, but I think they'll be ready for this Buccaneers offense. I think they'll win at the line of scrimmage. They'll get after Baker. Issues on the outside with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and some of the injuries in the secondary. But I think the Eagles defense will win early on against Tampa. And I think the Eagles offense is going to come out on fire. So I think they're going to win the game. And I like the initial matchups early for them to be the first team on the board.
Well, you heard it here from Eliot Shorr-Parks, the expert when it comes to everything Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are going to roll on Monday Night Football against the Bucs, and that's Bet the Birds with Eliot Shorr-Parks and Maniac Malloy, presented by Bet Parks. Eliot, again, as always, thanks for coming on, and we'll see you next week live from Scotland, I hear?
Live from Scotland next week. Your boy's going international for a wedding, but still be talking about the Birds. I'm going to make sure that Parks app at least can open it in Scotland. We'll see how that works out, but excited to still follow the Lions and talk to you next week.
Yeah, you'll have to get your bets locked in, before you go.
Oh, trust me. They're on my checklist is pack and make sure I get my bets in. So we are prepared.